Krimitsos. Everybody, we've got Chris Krimitsos.
Yes, you got it.
What is up? Welcome to BDC Live on this glorious Wednesday evening. Great to see all of you guys jumping into chat.
Everybody's
Let's light it up. You guys
here.
know what to do. Make sure that you are subscribed to this amazing YouTube channel. Make sure that you share tonight's broadcast because we're giving away $300.
We had lucky winners last week.
I had a winner last week. I wasn't even here. I was at the White Sox game.
I got to give
I
away
am
money.
back, and I get to come back to a $300 pot. It was all the way up to what?
I don't know why you keep saying $300 pot. Like
That's what I say.
$300 is not a lot. I could do a lot with $300.
No, I'm just saying that's what the people say.
I could buy a great pair of shoes with $300.
That's just what the people say.
I could pay my phone bill with $300.
That's what the people say.
Well, I am the people.
I mean, the diehards, the raving fans.
What about you guys?
People
Do you
say,
think you would like to win $300? There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
$300.
Well, that's why they're here. The people that are here are saying they want to win $300, and the people that are not here, they're like, I don't want to win $300.
No, I think the people that are here, they're like, I value your content, and $300 is
Well,
like the cherry on top.
I got to tell you, tonight's content is going to be off the charts because we're talking podcasts. And you and I have been on the podcast tip for a long time, and I've got some questions for tonight's guests. It's going to be super awesome. If you are not yet in the podcast game, I know that we internally, we have some great content coming out on podcasts. We're going to be helping a lot of you guys get your podcast game straight, beginning tonight, live. Well, we're just help not just BDC
like
people, but everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody live. Everybody that's got YouTube can get their podcast game straight. And I'm super pumped up because I think that podcasting is the new frontier.
Yes.
I think that I always tell people I'm very excited about podcasts because of who's not in podcasts. I always say that. I'm interested in podcasts. Well, a lot of people don't know that.
What do you mean?
Well, first of all, let me explain the total moves. That Dave Meltzer and you and I have partnered on licensing Blue Wire Studios. We're currently finalizing talks to put a Blue Wire studio here in Indianapolis. We're going to have one in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial. I don't know if that's the name. Is that what they still call it? Lincoln Financial Fieldhouse. Working on Lucas Oil Fieldhouse here. Putting the studio inside Lucas Oil will be a monumental accomplishment, and SoFi Stadium. So we'll have in our initial offering 3 Blue Wire studios in addition to the Blue Wire studio that's in Las Vegas. And then what I'm excited about is giving you guys the opportunity to utilize our studios for your podcast as we continue to build out the Blue Wire network. And so getting the shows on the network, which then there's sponsorship revenue. There's all kinds of stuff that will be able to happen through the Blue Wire network.
And we were talking about networks a long time ago.
Well,
like they're a bigger thing now, but how powerful being part of a network is and what it could do for your podcast. So we're super excited for that.
You and I were just a little bit ahead of our time. We wanted to do this. It was 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
But now, hey, you've got to learn patience. And now, we had this thing that we had pitched to Blue Wire. Now here we are looking to fulfill on that. But here's the thing. When I talk about, so you're asking me, well, I'm interested in podcasting because of who's not in, and specifically networks, because I think that, in the pitch initially, although, in 3 years, a lot has changed. So in the pitch initially, what I wanted to do was I wanted to build the health and wellness side of the Blue Wire network.
Yeah.
Well, now we're in so many other verticals, with Book Yourself Solid and everything that's going on. We're going to build out a lot of parts. I'm interested in the financial side, financial podcasts, all kinds of stuff. But specifically in the health and wellness side, there's a few podcasts that have a lot of downloads that are listened to a lot, but they're just standalones.
Right.
And what we've seen in the industry is, the most famous Joe Rogan's podcast being picked off as a single podcast and then being paid a lot of money to have exclusivity on Spotify. And now you've seen Spotify do that with a couple more. And so, but it's always up to this point, single podcasts.
Right.
You have a great podcast, you get a lot of downloads, you have great listenership. Then, these platforms are like, well, let's make you exclusive. But the interesting thing about a network is it gives opportunity for people like you. Well, I mean, listen, people like you, who knows? Maybe Patrick Bet David's watching the live. I don't know. But people like you, Like gives people like you the opportunity to be a part of a network. And so maybe you don't have millions and millions of downloads, but you're a part of a network. And collectively, the network does have millions and millions of downloads. I think it's a matter of time because look, we're going through a recession in the economy, and it's a matter of time before some of these subscription networks begin to get hit. I mean, there was a time when then there was like a million of them. ESPN went subscription, Disney, Disney Plus, Paramount, HBO Max, like all everything was like subscription.
Yeah.
Netflix, I think Netflix is a big one. I'm wondering how long it will take before Netflix realizes that it would be cheaper to produce content through podcasts than it would be to produce content through series. I don't think they stop. So I'm not saying in lieu of, but I think that
they don't stop. There's
well,
some
here's
good
the thing.
series out
If they
there.
want subscribers to pay the monthly package and they're losing, quote, losing subscribers because people are going over to Spotify, they're in these other platforms, Netflix is going to be smart at some point to say, let's contain it. Now, rather than go out and pick off one or two podcasts, if there was a network that contained, I don't know, 5 to 10 really top end podcasts, but then 100 other podcasts that would be of interest to a lot of people.
It's like a podcast roll up.
It's a podcast roll up. I'm very interested in this. I think that Netflix gets in the game. I think that Paramount gets in the game. Yeah. I think that HBO Max gets in the game. And I think that
you have to get in the game now to be part of that game.
You've got to get in the game. You've got to establish yourself. You've got to make relationships. We're big on relationship capital. You've got to find your way into a network so that you're not just sitting there all by yourself, this is why we're working with Blue Wire, because we want to expand the network, because I believe that Blue Wire is very interesting because it has a ton of sports personalities on it. It's not heavy weighted in entrepreneurship. It's not heavy weighted in finance. It's not heavy weighted in health and wellness. I think there's a lot of opportunity on the Blue Wire network. And so, yeah, you've got to get in the game. This is the Get in the Game day here on BDC Live.
I love it.
You got some announcements. Why don't you take care of announcements?
What do we got for announcements?
Well, first of all, James is producing.
Producing.
What's up, everybody? Back in the producer's booth tonight. Excited to hopefully give away some money later on.
I know, and this is great that James is in the producer booth because we're talking about podcasts. I mean, who better to be in the producer booth where we're talking about podcasts than James?
We also have Bobby DeLude running backup today. The other podcast, the podcast dude. Who better to have talking podcasts than the podcast dude?
It's like the dynamic duo over here.
We've got two of the None of Your Business podcast
producers. Both None of Your Oh, man.
Two None of Your Business podcast producers. It doesn't get any better than that.
It does not get any better than that. So ask all your questions for sure.
Here's what we've got coming up. Money Matters coming up. Listen, this always makes me chuckle. Over the last 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and today, so many Money Matters workshop registrations coming in. What are people waiting for?
I know.
What's going on?
In fact, you should have bought your tickets and made your plans weeks ago.
We were just talking to Mark Murphy. We're going to release a None of Your Business podcast episode with Mark Murphy. Yeah. Absolute gold. You're going to hear the podcast. You're going to be like, dang, I want to go to Money Matters. And we might be saying, well, we're sold out. Yeah. So you need to get registered on July 28th and 29th here in Indianapolis. Now, for all of Lacey and I's VIP clients, we're going to be meeting with you on July 27th, special VIP. If you want to be a VIP
this
client.
One's actually super special too. It's going to be a totally different format. Yeah. We're doing some new things for you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interactive.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just teaching and you writing stuff in a notebook. Yeah, we've juiced it up here.
And we're not in a normal room.
We're not in a normal room. Yeah. It's going to be amazing. And the day before that, so that would be on the 26th.
Yep.
The Shank Dilly Cup.
Oh, I love that photo.
I'm super excited about this because
look how excited that you are in that photo.
Yeah, we've got Queued Up as a sponsor. Well, I mean, basically, Queued Up co-hosting with us. So Queued Up is the app Jackson Dietrich's put together. Lacey and I are involved there. Super excited about that.
I think we're already a third sold out.
Yeah, obviously limited spots. We're playing tea times. We got Swannies. I'm wearing a Swannies hat there in that picture. Swannies is one of our sponsors, and True Links. Every single person that signs up, you're going to receive, courtesy of True Links, a custom pair of shoes by True Links. Custom, I mean, they're putting whatever you want on there, like your initials, your name. We could write BDC on it. You could write Shank Dilly on your shoes and rock Shank Dilly shoes wherever you go. July 26th at the Bridgewater Club. You have got to hit up Luke.
If you want to smile like
Luke
Shank
at
Dilly,
Luke at
sign up.
blackdiamondclub.com. That's how you get in on the Shank Dilly Cup. What else we got, James? Throw something else up there and I'll talk about it.
Ooh.
Cairo Sushi Samurai. Oh man, that's been popping off. We've got Grant's Rants. That show drops every single Monday. People have been just really excited about Grant's Rants.
And Thought Flashes with
well, Grant's Rants drops on Mondays. Every Monday we drop Grant's Rants. Thought Flashes with
Tuesday?
Dr. Jack Borla drops every Tuesday. I think it's about time. I should probably ink our next host.
Yeah, we need to get somebody.
I'm gonna I need to add a Wednesday show.
Mm.
Who do you think I should add? Throw in the chat. Who do you think? What other chiropractor? Oh, it's got to be a chiropractor because this is Cairo Sushi.
Yeah.
What chiropractor do you want me to add to our weekly lineup?
It could also be somebody that services chiropractors.
It could, but they got to talk every single Wednesday.
I know.
You got to bring it.
Consistent.
If you're not yet a member of Cairo Sushi, join us, CairoSushi.com. We'd love to have you there. Anything else, James?
All right. Time for our special guest,
Chris Krimitsos. Let's bring him up. What's up, Chris?
What's up? That was perfect. Thank you.
That was perfect. Okay, good. I gave him the side eye just to make sure.
We are here with podcasting royalty. So if you're in the podcasting space, everybody knows who Chris is. But if you're not from the podcast space, you got to check out PodFest.
Especially if you want to get in the podcast space.
Well, and then you probably need to make plans to be at PodFest. Like if you're getting into this podcast space, PodFest, that's the place to be. That's the event. That's like the homecoming.
Robert was just telling us that he's been there.
Yeah, Robert's been there a couple times. Yeah. That's the homecoming of all things podcasting. Thanks for joining us, Chris. Pleasure to have you.
Congrats on Blue Wire. That's huge.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
you.
We're
pumped
we're
about
really
this.
Excited about that. Yeah.
We're pumped. We're
great group of people.
Yeah, we have the studio in Las Vegas, but we're putting them in like sports arenas. So Lucas Oil, we have space secured at Lincoln Financial and space secured at SoFi. And the guests come in live. I mean, and they love to be in the stadium and go take
tours. See the stadium when there's not people in it. Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, so we're super pumped about
They're at the Wynn, right, in Vegas?
Vegas is at the Wynn, yes.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Let's talk podcasts for beginners, though, because I've been on this tip forever, and I wanted to ask you. So people that are trying to jump into space, I'm a big believer in podcasts as a sort of a level playing field. Allows me to jump in, allows me to share my message. A lot of reasons. I want to first attack all the reasons why. Well, not all of them. Some of the reasons why people don't do it. People are like, well, I don't know what to say.
I don't know how.
I think I need a fancy microphone. Right. So let's go into, from your perspective, tell us why people should be embracing this idea of getting into podcasts.
So first, it's a revolutionary idea that everybody has access to the same airwaves. So that's one. I know you guys have probably done a lot of PR, but I remember when I used to go into the local radio station or TV station, before you even had podcasts, I'd have to go through security. I'd have to get a producer to come get me. So people have to ask themselves, why are they guarded? Why were they guarded so heavily? And the reason is you didn't have access. That's why, unless they let you in. So podcasting, it's funny, if you talk to a kid and explain to them how revolutionary it is, they don't even get it because they got a green screen in their bedroom, gaming on Twitch. It's like ubiquitous for them, but it gives everybody a voice. And if you're looking to get your message out, if you do it right, you could find an audience that not only is looking for your message, but you could build a very engaged audience compared to other mediums because it's very personal.
But you're like an expert amongst experts. Got a sweet microphone that we can see there. Mm-hmm. What about people that they have this hang up on the equipment? Like I'm not tech savvy. Like
my lighting's not great.
I start?
My background.
How important is that?
So I had a lady yesterday. Like, I mean, I hear this. I'm sure you guys have heard it, but I hear it a lot. The equipment is not what makes a great podcaster. Yes, you could have a great mic. You guys have, I think, the Shure SMB7s. My wife uses those. Those are great. Mm-hmm. I have this one because this is a great mic. It's $100. It's called the Audio Technica. Dynamic mics are what you want. They plug into your computer. But other than that, that's like the hardest part of podcasting. And I don't know if you've ever done this. Hitting record is probably the most hardest thing. Every podcaster has forgotten to hit record. This is one that gets a laugh in a podcasting room. I always tell the beginners, I go, I'm going to say something. All the veterans are going to laugh. They started a podcast. Maybe they got nervous, or they were looking at all the other details, their notes, and they forgot to hit record. You know how many? I've got a couple gift cards from someone that's like, hey, you're going to hate me, but I didn't hit record. Here's a gift card. Can we do it again? And I say, absolutely. I mean, how many times has someone forgotten to hit record on a Zoom? I know I have. Just doing regular Zoom rooms, and you want to send it to your community or whatever. So record, if you know how to hit record, you basically know how to podcast. I think the question is that someone should be asking themselves is, what value do I have to bring to what community, and how do I package that in a way that is appetizing for someone to, one, click on my podcast. And remember, podcast nowadays, I know you guys know this, but a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people on YouTube that consider they have a podcast, but then, the very technical part of podcasts is, yes, you should be on YouTube, but strip your audio and have an RSS feed, which what that means is, God forbid anything happens on YouTube, you still own all your content. You have an RSS feed. It's a direct relationship. And what I mean by that is, when podcasting first started, it was all audio. And here's a fun fact. Do you guys know why podcast had a delayed growth before video? Like YouTube took off before audio, even though audio is easier to produce?
Don't know.
Why?
So in the beginning, I had to ask. I was like you. I was like, what? I don't understand this, because video is harder. Everybody knows it's like the not only just doing it, but like buffering. If you ask a producer, they're like, takes more time to upload video. So here's a fun fact that it was interesting, because we had to really figure this out. So video, when YouTube first came out, was on your computer, so it was easy to access it. Mm-hmm. Audio, you needed like 3 things for audio to work. So remember, we're living in a pre-COVID world at the time. People only listen to audio almost exclusively on their commute to work, like 99%, right? Because they didn't really have podcasts yet. So the only way you could listen to a podcast is if you had a car that was Bluetooth enabled, and then you needed a phone that was Bluetooth enabled to tether to the car. Well, we don't change our phones out. Back then, maybe it was every 2 or 3 years, 4 maybe, but cars don't get changed out for every 8 years. So audio lagged behind on-demand video by like 7 or 8 years. So it took almost like a generational gap before audio kicked in to match the prowess of like on-demand video. It's very weird, but that created a huge opportunity for people to get shows out there, because there was so much demand. When that started kicking in around 2013, we started seeing huge growth in the audio space.
Well, I wonder when Apple CarPlay came out. With Apple CarPlay now, like, just there's a podcast button in the car. You can just boom and
that didn't exist. Right. So you got to look at all those things where the satellite radio and all that, but people don't change their car out every year. It did 8 years. So by the time everybody came on, there was this weird lag that happened. But you asked, I think you asked, like, why should people do shows? I'm of 2 minds. I don't think everybody should do a show. I do think everybody should be leveraging podcasts, because they could be a guest. They could be a great guest on shows, and that's a great way to get started. And then the ones that have great topics, niches, what I'm a big proponent of. You were talking about networks. I'll tell you about a young lady that started a network in the health and wellness area. Her name is Katie. She started a network in the meditation space. And she started one show, and it was called Meditation for Women. So she saw a few years back that there was no meditations guided for women. So these meditations are like meant for, moms, women going through all the different cycles of life. And she noticed that was really doing well. So then she basically hired me to help her with her strategy. And that's when we started building the network. So right now, if you look at Meditation for Women, she just recently celebrated 100 million downloads. She has 14 shows. She has sleep meditation, meditation for anxiety, meditation for panic attacks. And when I tell you, Sean, you're spot on with what you're talking about. Her network is growing so fast now. She's been approached by the same agents that approached Rogan to see what kind of deals are out there for her. But it all started with one show. And then it was by what I did, the help I gave her was I looked at her data, and I just said, look, these sleep shows, obviously there's something to it. Why don't you take that out and make a separate show? So it wasn't like rocket science, but it was like, let's see what happens. And that became bigger than the original show. And then it was like, okay, well, if you need meditation, go sleep. What about affirmations in the morning? So then she started morning meditation. One thing led to another. So if you look up women's meditation, great case study, great person. I have trouble pronouncing her last name, but just great creator, great creator.
Wait, from the guy that has the last name that nobody can pronounce, you have trouble with her last name. What's going on?
So you guys will appreciate this. Her last name is Krimitsos. She happens to be my wife.
Oh,
little bit of trolling, having fun, but she you guys will appreciate this even better. I'll share it with you like something an insider tip. So she and I don't really work well together. In the past, we had a business where she went on her own way. So we become very mature as we age. I guess you learn things. And I remember she said, "Listen, I see you helping all these people, and their numbers are blowing up. I want your help." I go, "But you never listen to my advice, so why would I give you advice?" So she goes, "Okay, well," and she's like, "I want to be very serious. I'm going to listen to your advice." I said, "Awesome." She goes, "But you can't make me wrong." I said, "Deal." So then we were able to create a win-win between the two of us. And then it took a lot of patience on both our sides, but it's been great watching her grow and every so often wearing the marketing hat. But honestly, she does the work. She's amazing. She has a team of 18 now on her team making these meditations, and she's inspired by helping women all over the world. So we were able to celebrate that mark last month. But like you guys said, it's a lot of work. Like she's working. It's a business, and she loves the work that she does. So that's the key. You got to treat it with respect and reverence. It's not, you can't miss your weekly shows, right? You got to show up. And if you're not there, have someone else do it. You maybe co-host or figure out how to do it. Take it seriously, but the audiences are there.
You mentioned some people should not do podcasts.
Who is that?
Yeah, who is that? How would somebody be like, or no, like, okay, good, not for me?
Well, let me give you some things I would like people to have if they're going to do a podcast. So I get asked all the time, like, "Chris, I see what you did for your wife," and then I help a couple other people. By the way, you like golf? I'll introduce you to one of the top golf YouTubers. I also help my friend with Let's Play Through, top YouTube golf channel. He gets to go to all. I'd love to connect you with him. But the main thing, I like helping people that are willing to invest in their podcast. I do get upset when they're like, "I don't want to put any money into this. I just want to get a mic and do it." And it's like, okay, well, you're asking someone that takes this. I take it very professionally. So if you're not willing to take yourself professionally, and then somehow you wind up on my doorstep, I'll help you if you want to be a hobbyist and give you that advice. But if you expect to have the same results as the professionals, you're kidding yourself and you're kidding me. And now I talk to so many people. I'll nicely tell people, like, "Look, I don't, it doesn't sound like you're really interested." So you have to be really serious about it. You have to treat it with its own respect. However, if I'll give you an example. Sometimes there's people like, "I love podcasting, but I'm a full-time doctor. I have a practice." I get that a lot. Or I'm an attorney. If we can't find a studio for them locally to go in and out, because that really does help, right? That helps that person, because then the production, everything's full scale. I'll mention tools like Podmatch, which helps them get on shows as a guest. So they'll register on a service like that. And what usually happens, guys, is they like being guests. So then eventually they get bitten by the bug, and then we get them in on the other end, if that makes sense. My agenda is still trying to get them into the space. But once they kind of see, okay, this is easy, it's not rocket science. These people interviewing me, you guys are really good at what you do, right? So I really enjoyed the how you do I'm older, so the Regis and Kathy Lee deal in the beginning. I enjoy that. Like, to me, that's like,
wait. I'm Regis?
Yeah. I'm
Regis
Kathy
and Kathy
Lee.
Lee. You guys are awesome. Or you be Kelly. We'll do Kelly. Or even
At least somebody
know,
today referred to us as Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. Like, that was
He said you could be Kelly, but he wanted to leave me as Regis.
Listen, Regis, I don't look at age. Regis is one of a generation talent. That guy.
It's true. Okay, that's right.
He was a very special person. And Kathy Lee, to me, was the gold standard. I know Kelly Ripa has done a great job.
Yes.
But it does, like, what they do looks effortless, but it's not. There's a magic to that sauce, and there's a chemistry that you need, and there's work that's there. So I'm big on helping people. And then what I would tell people, and we talked about this, like, the equipment doesn't cost much. Like, you could go as low as $99 and plug into a laptop. You could use Zoom, which is probably not the best. There's other better tools like you're using Ecamm. We love Ecamm. They're one of our sponsors, but they really are a high quality tool for Mac users. Then there's Squadcast, and we could go into tools, but that's not important. It's spending the time on the strategy of what you're about to do. I would rather spend more time on the strategy, the format, what what area you're trying to get into. I just came back from the UK, and I will tell you this: podcasting is exploding on all the other corners of the world. And I was very, I was in there, and I was talking about how to spend money to market your podcast. And what I realized, me and the whole panel realized, we quickly asked we had about a room of 400 people, how many of you just started? The majority of them were beginners. So for us, it felt like the US market 5-6 years ago when everything was just getting going. So it's interesting to see that the UK market, which is considered after us, it's like Australia and UK are the next two markets over. They're still at the infancy of this stuff. And then you
Wow.
think all the rest of the world, from South America to, all the different parts. If you think we've grown to where we are now, we're about to enter this explosion of that's going to really confound people.
Yeah. So would you say that that's probably the number one reason that podcast fails, inconsistency, or do you see other things that make a podcast not successful?
So I'd like to say that, but the truth is, if you found a niche and you're the only one, you could stop for 6 months and go back, and the audience is still there. So, by
Fair
seeing
enough.
thousands of case studies, I would say yes, though. If you're like if let's say you're in a general niche that's popular, real estate, investment, you're competing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're like the only person that's talking about sound engineering or whatever, that audience probably, because unless there's like 10 others, which there aren't, there's a few, and we know a sound engineer, and we know these, like another friend of mine's an editor, they'll stop and they go back, they're like, my audience is bigger. It's because people are subscribing to these things while you're not doing it, and the audience grows just because there's nothing else there. So that's the only caveat I would give. I don't recommend that. But consistency is key, because on YouTube, for sure, consistency is key, because the algorithm rewards consistency, same day, same time. Big time. That's part of their algorithm. On podcasting, it's just the audience needs to know that you're going to deliver your product consistently and that you care. But it just signifies that you care and you're taking your show seriously, and that helps you grow.
Let's talk about the difference between jumping on a podcast and I'm just doing a monologue or interview. And I feel personally like it kind of falls into the same category. Some people are cut out to just get on and talk. And it's great. Other people, you're kind of like, what's happening? Some people are really good at interviewing other people. Some people kind of, you can tell it feels like there's no, like you said, there's an art to it. There's no chemistry. You're like, what's happening? How do I decide kind of what format I should use in my podcast?
I think having great people like yourselves that are advisors that have been there, done that in your corner is a good help. Like, don't ask a family relative that doesn't know anything about podcasting. And the only reason I say that is I travel a lot. And I remember one lady, she was so sweet. Her business, I don't remember what the name of the business, but I'll give you like an example. It was like LD's planning business, whatever it was. And she goes, I started my podcast. What's it called? It's called LD's Planning Podcast, or planning wasn't even in the name, whatever. It was like her pet or something was the name. And I said, what is it about? She goes, it's about event planning. I go, well, you probably should lead with event planning and whatever else you want to put. And she's like, there's 4 other event planning podcasts. I go, there's a reason for that, because people at least know it's event planning and they find it. So ask other professionals about advice. And then, like you said, some people are personalities unto themselves. I have one friend, Neil Gilarte. He could talk to himself for like an hour and we'll all be listening because it's entertaining. Those are rare, but they do exist.
Right.
And those people are characters. Like, some people are just natural characters. They could talk and everybody would listen to them. That's a rare quality. However, you can do a monologue that's 5 minutes, and your podcast maybe is only 5 minutes, and it's talking as long as you're comfortable. And over time, you could build that muscle. You can do an interview show. I'll give you a tip for the interview shows. The challenge that people have when they have an interview show is people know them as the interviewer that is giving the stage to the guest. So they don't really know them as an expert. So the problem is, they'll come back and say to me, Chris, no one's hiring me for my consulting, or no one's asking me about whatever it is that they're doing. And what I'll recommend is, do me a favor once a month, do a recap show with your thoughts on the things that your guests covered. So that way you play a couple clips, you talk about it at length, or just do a solo show, 5 minutes about kind of your thoughts about whatever's going on. That makes you one, it gets you double the downloads because now people like you, they see you, so your growth starts happening. But those people tend to be more loyal listeners and they help grow your show and they may contact you for services. Um, yeah, my wife, here's a really good one. This is a tip that my wife backed into. She before she did the Women's Meditation Network, she used to have Biz Women Rock. So it was a business, she would interview other business women. And no one hired her for consulting. So I said to her, tell them that this is after a year of goodwill, building up a nice audience. I said, tell your audience that you're going to give away a 90 minutes power session assessment for free if they enter the raffle. And 36 people entered. So the person won. And I go, now go back to the 35 people and say to them, I'm really sorry that you didn't win, but I still want to help you. I'd like to dedicate 20 minutes to see how we could support what you're doing. Of the 35, I think I'd like to say 19 scheduled. 9 of them became full-time clients. She was off to a six-figure business. At the end, she would just say, like, sounds like we could, yeah, she goes, it sounds like we could work together. If you'd like to now create a separate conversation, let's do that. And then that's what happened.
I gotta make sure that everybody picked that up.
Wow,
Like
no,
that.
like
There
dropping
was.
bombs. There, yeah,
That's it.
And the
There it
recap
is.
show too. People love that
That's-
as well.
yes.
Like unbelievable.
I got one more question for you. Well, first of all, I got to point out. So now, of course, your wife listens to you. You guys work great together. Look at that.
What are
Giving
you,
her this
wait,
advice.
wait a minute. What are you trying to say?
Before
Like,
he said
do I
that,
need to listen
before,
more?
before
Like,
he
I
said
feel
they
like there's
didn't
some-
work well together,
I feel like there's
then he
some
gives us an example.
underlying
He was
tone
like,
I should-
"Let me tell you how I made my wife a six-figure business." She listened.
Yeah,
she did
yeah.
it.
I listen, babe. I
All
do.
right, Chris. I have another idea. I need some expert validation. Or
Oh.
again, you can tell me, dude, that's
Right.
terrible. I'm totally fine with that. Especially for the people that consume our content, a lot of them have local brick and mortars, like you had mentioned, like dentists. And
Chiropractors,
I
yeah.
don't think that there is enough local podcasts, because when we say podcasts, we kind of think like it's a global reach.
Global network.
And
yeah.
if I had an Indianapolis podcast, I think it would be easier for me to start inviting people from Indianapolis to be on my show. I think that I would get a push because they
To
would
get
promote to their
in-person
audience.
business,
Right,
yeah.
to get in-person business, and they would promote it. And I think it would be easier for me to saturate the market because really I only want people in Indianapolis to listen to it. Any thoughts on that? And if you like the idea, make it better. How would we do that
Improve
more
that.
effectively?
So we're very familiar with the concept. So we've been covering geolocal podcasts for quite some time now with PodFest. And what I think will happen, there's already someone in Atlanta doing it. There's one in Charlotte. There's a couple. What I think will happen is people will build networks, kind of like you're saying, and give an umbrella for the unique individuals in the area. I don't think it's very tough for a solo show to stand out that's geolocal like it can. I think you actually hit this up very well in the beginning. I think there will be a networkization of local geo areas. We already are like that's already happening in sports. Look at my wife with meditation. Those
Right.
are bigger niches, but local, um, there's so many areas that have not been claimed yet. So that is going to happen over time. Because I'm in Tampa, people sometimes assume I own a local network. They're like, hey, we want to get the word out locally. It's like, no, we're all individuals. I wish someone would start one in Tampa so I could refer them like, hey, here's the Tampa network. Talk to
Hello,
them.
Case Groff, Enrico Dolcecore. We have tons of regular participants here in Tampa. So this is your calling from the master, from the expert of all
There
things
you go.
podcast.
There you
Are they on
go.
here? Like, let's go get the Tampa Network
You know
going, and everybody else.
You know which niche is the easiest to exploit when you're doing local? It's local community sports. That's the first area that is the easiest to get sponsors, easiest to get attention because now all the parents, the family, the grandparents, they didn't go to the local game. What happened with like in Tampa, Plant City High School played, blah blah blah. There's generational rivalries. People have been there forever. So you
Yep.
start with local and then you branch out from there, and that flywheel will fill up very quickly with brands and people.
Oh my gosh, that was absolutely killer.
Gold.
Love it.
Gold.
Tell people about PodFest. So everybody, hopefully, we've got one or two people that are like, yes, I want to jump in. How do they plug in with you? How do they get to PodFest? How do they get plugged into your world?
So podfestexpo.com is our website for the event, but we also have the podfestmessenger.com, and that's a twice a week daily newsletter that we send out to all podcasters. It talks stats, data, what's going on with the industry. Lately, we've been showing that YouTube is one of the top drivers of listeners. And then we'll go international and show you what's going on. So Podfest Messenger for the newsletter, Podfest Expo for the event. We do have a special for your peeps. So
Let's
I took
go.
your acronym BDC. So if you type in BDC, you get a free ticket to PodFest. So you get an Expo pass to PodFest. And then if you'd like to upgrade, you use that discount on any level. But as a thank you to you guys, right before, I didn't plan this, but I was enjoying your intro so much. I'm like, what can we do special for you guys? They put a lot of TLC into their effort. You can tell this is a great community. So if you just use BDC, it'll get you Expo Pass. And then you can use that discount on the way up if you want to go whatever, VIP or whatever. But thanks to the two of you for being so professional. So I'm excited. I texted Andrew, I'm like, make this, we got to do this for this community. They're awesome.
Well, you're awesome. You have a good team. We absolutely love it. Yes. Well, we should do more stuff together. You're absolutely fantastic. For all of the people of Lacey and I's team that are watching this, let's make sure that we get that message out for everybody to take advantage of. Let's get some BDC representation.
We'll put that
at
into
PodFest.
the BDC group.
Yes.
I know a lot of people listen to this particular live over the course of the week, so hopefully that'll still be live and active for them to use as well.
Yeah, it'll be active. We have some big announcements I can't make just yet, but literally some of the largest podcasters in the world will be honored in some way, shape, or form. But that's all I could say. So a little tease at PodFest, but I can't drop names. If I told you the name, you would know the name.
Sweet. Can't wait.
I know.
Maybe Lacey and I'll have to drop in at PodFest.
If it's on schedule, we'll be there.
Where is it going to be held?
It's in Orlando. So we're always in Orlando, Florida. This is our 10-year anniversary PodFest. So we're pulling all the stops out, and it's gonna be amazing. About 1,500 to 2,000 podcasters come from all over the world, and it's gonna be a lot of fun this year. We're gonna have a carnival atmosphere. I'm already booking, jugglers and all kinds of stuff just for fun in the trade show. But the education, we're gonna have a very deep focus on AI this year. So we're already scouring the country for the top AI people, and we look at it through the people we choose are very merit-based, like they really know their stuff. So we're going to have a deep dive on an AI track and all the other good stuff.
Fantastic.
Absolutely
That sounds amazing.
love it. Chris, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. And congrats to the winner, whoever wins in advance. $300.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
We'll stay connected. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. What'd you think? That was awesome.
That was amazing. I think I need to go to we need to find out the date, and then we need to go to PodFest.
Yeah, it's in Orlando. I
you
hope
just drive
that
over
it's
from Naples.
well. I hope it's when we're in Florida.
Yeah.
Hope it's after October
I would hope that it wouldn't be in the middle of the
summer in Orlando. That would be hot.
It would be humid.
I think it's in January.
Oh, perfect. That works.
Let's
that
go.
works for us. Yeah.
It's January 25th through the 28th.
January 25th through the 28th,
January,
Orlando,
yes.
Florida, PodFest.
I want to learn about
Use
AI.
code
I
BDC.
know.
Let's
I think
go.
James
Let's
wants to
light it
go.
up. Let's get some BDC peeps there. And I got to tell you, this idea, the local podcasts in sports.
That was unbelievable.
If you watch this BDC live tonight and you didn't make some money,
Yep.
before we give away money, if you didn't already make money, you need to reconsider your whole position in life. You need to be like, what am I doing? If I'm sitting here watching this
Yep.
and I didn't figure out how to do something big, you can create your local network. You can cover the sports. He told you what mics he's using. He told you what mics were you. He's like, come on.
Listen, Regis, I think
He called me Regis.
I also really love though the idea of a recap episode to
Yeah, I
make
love
sure
that.
that you're showcasing your own credibility and authority, because that I never even thought about that, how easily that could be missed if you were only the interviewer, right? And you weren't being on guests on other podcasts. So
That's why James always wants us to do the shorts.
I know.
He's
So-
smart. James
I
is
know,
smart
James-
too.
Well, we know that.
James should be.
James is a smart cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need more recap shows, James. I think Sean and I need to do recaps and
They're
shorts.
called shorts.
Yeah, but
in
those
our
are
world.
recaps.
In our world.
They're shorts.
People
Same
love
thing.
people love Sean and Lacey, so we got to give the people what they want.
Gotta give people what they want. That's what we're here. You know what the people want?
They want
$300.
money.
Yeah.
James, let's
Some
get
money
this thing
tonight.
fired
We
up.
want money.
Let's get some money going here. We're going to draw 3 names. You guys know how
Okay.
it works. Here's what we're going to do. We've got every single name of every BDC member in the canasta. We're going to draw 3 names. Or if you draw your name, you're a winner. In order to claim the prize, you've
Yep.
got to announce yourselves in the chat. And you've got to do it in the 30 seconds
You've
that
gotta
we
do it
give
quick.
you. You can't. We can't have any technical glitches here. You've got to be on the chat. If you need to test your chat, write test right now so you see it. You're like, all right, I'm in.
Make sure it's working.
We draw your name, 30 seconds. You announce yourself. We give you $300.
And if it's unclear if you win or not, you guys know how it goes. We take it to the people and they vote. I mean, last week Brady was on and we called Amanda's name. And he was like, she's right here. She has the baby. And the people voted and they said, give it to them. So
Well, I mean,
it
that
goes
makes
to a
sense. I
vote.
wasn't here, but that makes sense
Yeah,
because
totally.
look, if you were on here, I don't know. It depends. It could say Sean and Lacey, right? Our YouTube
But
account.
that can't be
right?
like, but it can't be like, well, it's Luke's name. And he's like, I'm here. And
No,
it
it can't
says
be
Sean and
Luke. Luke's not
Lacey.
here.
Well,
No,
that's what
it
I'm
doesn't count.
saying. That's why it needs to go to a vote.
All right.
That
We're do-
wasn't
I
my
wanted-
vote.
So we're drawing 3 names,
Test.
$300.
I see you, Tests. Jeremy, Leah. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And also make sure that you're live. You're not delayed.
Oh yeah. Make sure that you
Yeah.
pull that little button up
Yeah,
to
make
live.
sure you didn't
got to be
pause
live.
it at any point. If you paused it, that's not our problem.
Maybe somebody in the chat. If you,
Yes.
Or maybe I can put in the
I
chat.
love.
'Cause they'll get the chat in real time, but not the replay.
Yep.
If they're delayed, they won't know.
I love it. Lots of tests. We see you. We see you, people.
Yes.
Yeah, Aaron, Paul and I attend in separate rooms. I love it. There we go. And I love
Smart.
Paul's weird blue wrench. He's the only one that has that.
Genius.
So it's. I
what
know.
stands out gets remembered, man.
I know.
Good
You
job,
will never
Paul.
not know that's
We'll
him.
never
Okay.
miss it when Paul wins.
No. Or when Paul talks.
That's true.
When Paul chats. All right, everybody. Name number 1.
Who you got, James?
Name number 1 is Travis Fisher.
Oh.
I don't know what time it is in Singapore.
I mean,
boy.
it's,
Travis Fisher.
Travis is probably.
You won.
It could be really
300.
early.
It could be really early morning, and
Actually.
Travis could also be. He's American, so he might be in
Yeah.
the United States. He
Yeah.
might be here for 4th of July. You could be
That's
coming over.
true.
We got
Travis
4th
could
of
be
July
here.
coming up. Travis could be here. We're going to be here on the 5th of July, which will be next Wednesday,
We'll be
5th
here.
of July.
We're
Travis
working on the 4th of
Fisher,
July.
$300. So,
Oh, Travis.
I mean, I'm okay with that because, I mean, he's in Singapore. It's far.
Yeah, I understand. You're not here.
All right,
Yeah.
James, try and draw somebody in our time zone.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Joshua Gomez.
Joshua Gomez. Joshua
Joshua.
Gomez.
Joshua.
Joshua Gomez.
Joshua Tree. Joshua.
You got 30 seconds.
Joshua Tree, California.
Gomez.
Yeah, Joshua Gomez.
I think
Fake
that-
name. Fake name.
No, Joshua
Was it-
Gomez hangs out, I believe, with Nathan Fisher. Not Travis
Oh,
Fisher,
yeah.
but
Nathan
Nathan
Fisher.
Fisher.
Yeah.
Joshua
Not a fakey, not a
Gomez.
falsy. He's a real guy.
Joshua Gomez.
Joshua Gomez. Joshua Tree. Oh man, Josh.
All right, one more name. Here's the deal. If we don't get a someone to claim their prize, then next week we add $100 and it goes to $400. 5th of July, $400. Let's go. Hey, everybody,
know.
make sure that you have your Money Matters registrations in hand. I even had some people today like saying, am
They're
I
like, "I'm
registered?
going," but they
right?
didn't
But they
register.
didn't register. We
Yeah.
got to lock your registrations in because space is really filling up. We're going to have Clinton Sparks in the house. We're going to have David Meltzer. We're
Bo
going to have
Parfait.
Mark Murphy. And Bo Parfait is going to be an absolute killer event. You don't want to miss it. I got to tell you, we have been really dialing in our sponsors.
Yes.
And so
Oh.
we have so our sponsors for this event are being absolutely amazing, just absolutely amazing. And in addition, I'm going to have Taylor Draper from Inherent there. We're going to be doing some fitting. So if you want to get fitted up and rock some Inherent wear like what I wear on Office Hours when we do the Office Hours TV show, We're going to have Taylor there. We've got
Man, I better step my game up, you know? Like, I was just thinking, like, I knew he was going to be there, but now I'm thinking, like, I got to make sure that what I'm in is fitted.
Corey Pinniger from Teams is going to be there. We're going to be getting you guys
great interview with him,
locked
actually.
in. We
You
had a
guys are gonna
great
love that
interview with him. You're going to
podcast.
love the podcast. And man, that is a phenomenal solution. Can't wait to introduce you guys to that. We're reinventing ourselves a little bit. And just coming through,
Isn't that
coming
the beauty
through.
of being
Yeah,
human? You get to reinvent yourself.
you get to reinvent
anytime
yourself,
you want,
but
from moment to moment.
But
Why
for
not
all of
do
the
it?
people that got off before the reinvention, then you're not going to know.
I love
But
reinventing
you might want to
myself.
grab yourself a ticket to Money Matters
Yes.
because oh my gosh, this particular event, we got the golf tournament. Michael Chandler's 5-0 in the Ultimate Fighter. Scandival seems to be over. Golf Shank Dilly Cup, all the things, and one
many things.
more name to go. You ready?
One more name. You got it, James?
Let's do it. Meg Spicer.
Oh, you know what? I haven't actually seen her name for a while.
Meg Spicer, $300 coming your
Are you
way.
on to claim your $300?
Sometimes
I feel like
sometimes
you
Meg Spicer's on.
should. She is on sometimes.
Yeah, Meg
I know. I
Spicer.
just haven't seen her name on here for a while.
Meg Spicer, there's a chance.
There is a
Folks,
chance.
we got it. You're saying there's
14
a chance.
seconds.
Come on,
So
Meg.
you're telling me
Come
there's
on,
a
Meg.
chance.
Come on, Meg.
Come on, Meg.
Come through for us.
$300.
Meg Spicer,
Meg.
$300.
2.
Come on, Meg.
1 0. You know what? I love it. $400 can do a lot. $400 next week. We're giving away
$400.
$400 the day after 4th of July.
Dude, today's BDC Live was awesome. I actually think I think we should do once a month. We should have a guest on.
Yeah, I love that.
I
That
got to
was
say
fun.
because Chris just
Somebody said that was the best one to date, so maybe they don't want more Sean and Lacey James. Man, now I'm feeling.
Who said
I think that once a month we have to
There's
have
a
a
say. I
guest.
saw it somewhere in there. Yeah, I think that's great.
Chris just absolutely knocked it out of the park. If you didn't learn something tonight, I don't know what's up. Here's the great news. For all of you that are here still with us live, these go up onto YouTube.
Yeah.
So you definitely need to tell a friend who missed tonight that's in the service world and that doesn't have a podcast that they need to rewatch this particular episode because,
is.
man, this was awesome.
Best
this
live
absolutely
yet.
killed
Thanks,
it.
James. Yeah.
Look, that's the other James. Jimmy.
That's the other James. What was all that 1 in a million talk? So you're telling me there's a chance. Anyway, yes, I think. And so if you guys have any requests on topics that you would like us to find an expert in, to come on here, come live and answer your questions. I mean, that's a great opportunity that you're able to just ask an expert a question.
Last thing, for all of y'all that thought we were dead, we're going back out on the road. We have so many speaking engagements
know.
lined
We
up
do.
for the last
Line 'em
6
up.
months of the year. We're
like
coming
old
to
school Sean and Lacey
Canada.
coming
We're
back.
coming to Iowa. We're coming to
road
Pennsylvania.
tripping.
We're coming to Texas. If you want to have Sean and
I'm
Lacey
going to New
visit
York.
you, New York.
I mean-
yeah, if you want to have us visit you, you've got to hit up Megan. If you've got an event and you want 2 amazing speakers, hit us up because it's not often. And I prefer to do this when it's a little bit colder, right? So like the cold months, because I like to play golf. That's why I don't get out there and speak a lot. So if you have an event, then next up on the rotation, for all of our C3 groups, we're going to start hitting those groups up,
What?
doing some stuff with them.
What cold months do we have?
January.
But we
January's
go
cold
to
in Florida.
Florida.
It's still cold in Florida. I'm good to travel. That's why PodFest. I'm going to go to PodFest because it'll be cold. You wake up in the morning, you got that like 8 o'clock tea time. You still got to put on layers. I don't like that.
And then by the time it hits 10, you have to strip them down because
There
it's
you go.
hot.
Oh, it's like 70.
It's cold in January, folks, just so you know.
And December. It's cold in December.
It is.
December means Christmas time. For all the people that say that Sean and Lacey can't adjust, we're going back to Mexico.
We are.
We're bringing Sean and Lacey's chiropractic hands to Mexico, Art of the Pacific, rolling out the whole crew. See thousands of people in Mexico City. Super excited about that.
Very excited.
We're not dead. People are just saying
I don't know
dumb
who
stuff.
said we're dead.
A lot of
Can
people
you
say
stop
we're dead.
saying that?
A lot of people wanted to be us for a little bit, and they thought they could be us, but they couldn't see us. But
Regis.
now we're back.
It's time to go.
See ya, everybody. Have a nice night.
Thanks for joining us.